Today, me and my papa are gonna talk about plants.
Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Aquatics, and what we're doing is planting these pothos out of the top of my aquariums. And I've got 25 aquariums here, and I try as much as I can to use plants to keep the water as healthy as possible for the fish, suck out all those nitrates. Plus, a little pop of green makes everything look nicer, don't you think?
Yes.
Now everyone, or it's really popular to use pothos, but we're going to show you some different ways to go about putting the pothos out of your tank that is more manageable. So in case you're not familiar with it, the scientific name of this pothos is Epiparum aerium golden, and I'm sure there's different varieties of it. There's definitely different color strains and things like that. But it's super affordable. And my favorite thing about this plant, like a lot of the plants that I keep in my aquariums, is you buy it once, it propagates itself forever. A single plant, like this is $10, we'll be able to get probably a dozen plants out of it, and I've got 2 of them. And I'll never buy pothos again. I'll just keep propagating it. So the first thing I need to do is pull all of this plant out, wash all the dirt off of the roots. And that's going to be kind of a big messy ordeal. So I'm going to do that off camera, and we'll be right back and show you the plants out of the pot.
We took all the roots apart and then we washed them.
That turns one plant into a bunch of plants.
Yeah.
So whenever I was looking at this, I said it was probably a dozen plants. Well, that first one spread apart into exactly 12 plants.
Yes.
And you see there's lots of roots on this, so you're pretty much guaranteed it's going to do well.
Yes, they're gonna grow.
All of these also have roots. So if you cut this right here in the middle of this stem, this is already a plant with 2 forks and roots on it. Another way to do this, you can leave this plant in the pot, and you could just cut this right here and stick the end of it into water, and it will probably grow back.
Yeah.
But if it has these little nubs here, that's roots starting to form. That tells you it's probably going to grow back. But you're going to have a lot better luck if you get a piece like this that already has all those roots on it. And then later, once this grows more, I can cut this multiple times into multiple plants. So these things grow like crazy, and they can be grown low light, but the more light you have, the faster they grow.
If you have less light, then it won't grow as fast. But if you have more light, that means it will grow faster than before.
Okay, so there are a lot of different ways you can plant this. Sometimes people will just take this and just dangle it into the tank and kind of try to balance it, or let these hang over the side, or just dip them in. There are different ways you can do it. You can tie them up, but I'm going to show you several different ways I like to do it. Now this tank has this egg crate material, which gives you holes that you can pass this through. This is an example of just placing it on top and letting it hang down in. So our roots are in the water column, but our leaves are not. So if these leaves are submersed in the water, they will die off. So you've got to kind of have a balancing act. And if this was a flat glass lid, I couldn't do it this way. But with this type of lid, any extra plants I have, I can just poke through the grate or behind the grate like this. So now I'm going to be showing you a series of products from a company called Cluckin' Shrimp. And the owner told me this is his least favorite, but a lot of customers want these. It's an individual stem planter. And it's got this back piece that can clip on aquariums with different size rims. So I have a wide rim on this 150 gallon, and this fits that. If you have a smaller tank or a rimless tank, then he's got the same thing that doesn't stick out as far. But this will work right here. And it's real simple for this. Now if you have a plant that wants a substrate, you would put some rocks or dirt in here. And that's why I think he likes the other ones I'm about to show you, because with the pothos you don't have a need for the basket area, but it's still usable.
And then just like that, but first we have to put the stem in it first before we put the rocks in it.
Now, these are my favorite plant baskets because they work for any kind of a plant that needs that substrate. And all of these lucky bamboo plants are in a basket like this. Comes from the same guy, Cluckin' Shrimp. I'll put a link to his website in the video description. Now all of these are also pothos holders, but they allow the stem to poke through here, the roots to hang below, and you know, the top to stick out the top. It hangs over the back just like the other I showed you. The advantage to this is you're not trying to poke roots down into a little basket. And if you want to take these out, you just slide this front piece off. So you put your pothos stems in there and slide the front on. And then if you want to take them out, you're not trying to rip the roots through this. You pull the front off and take them out the front. So let me set this up and I'll be right back. Alright, so this is an example. We've got all this plant growth, and of course this will go wild. These will be 6, 8, 10 foot long, however long we let them get before we trim them and replant. But all that root will be in the water. It's all held neatly and securely in place where it's not going to move around.
We're trying to figure out which fish tank to put these weeds in.
So this is the plant holder I showed you a minute ago. I cut a hole in this egg crate lid. 90% of my tanks have glass tops. These two just have the egg crate that I'm using. But I'll be putting some of them in all the tanks. But I've got these here and I'm stretching them up, and I'm going to let this pothos grow across the top of these aquariums. I'll put more of these same things and I'll have pothos in all the tanks. But for right now, this is just what I'm doing. But I've got 5 pothos plants coming out of the top of this tank now. Now here is an example. I ran out of the planters, but this section, we have roots down here that are feeding this, but we already have roots here feeding this, like long roots. Even up here we have long roots. So I'm going to snip this right there and start another plant. So now we'll poke these roots down in there, and this one with the single root, I'm just going to fish those roots down through this lid, which is a choice, and it's why I like these holders, because once you poke these through, they're going to try to tear if you have to take them out. And it makes this plant like a permanent part of this aquarium lid. At this point, I have all of the plants placed. I'll give you a little tour. Now this is like the old school way to do it. I just found a little gap here and I just poked this down in here, and it'll probably stay there, and you can see the roots trailing down. They might fall out of place or get moved or be in the way, or if the branches get heavy, it's just a little bit more of an awkward process where the little holders are going to keep them exactly in place, even if I'm doing a water change or anything else. Another problem with some of these is if I want to take the lid off, now I have to place them all again afterwards. So this is one that's in the single holder. These are just kind of poked in here around. I've got another one poked in right here next to these baskets. Hey, what, these big baskets are just my favorite. I've got another piece of pothos over here. I've got this one just sticking in here. And this is like the traditional way of doing it. Just find somewhere to stick it and let it hang in there. There's a branch, a vine, just draping in the tank. And as I said, it's going to stay right there. And I can wrap this around wherever I want later as it gets longer. So here we have some just stuck in the front. All of this right here is in the holder. We've got some pieces poked in right here. We've got more poked in right here through this little hole in the acrylic. This is where I used one of the big planters. And here I did it without a planter. These are just poked in. So I got 25 pothos plants for $20. I'll never buy it again. It's a lifetime supply. The other thing is we need light on these. And a lot of times people have sunlight in their room, natural sunlight, or their artificial lights are always on. Most of the time there's no one in this shop, so all the lights are off. So I'm going to have to use my aquarium light timers and put separate lights above these tanks so that they will have light. Or remember to come out here and just turn the lights on for a few hours every day. What do you think about the project we did?
Good.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It makes our aquariums cleaner. Didn't cost much money. If you want some of those pothos holders, check out the link in the video description.
And go get them from PetSmart.
You can get the Lucky Bamboo from PetSmart. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.